Uh-oh. Floyd Mayweather Promotions CEO says that Canelo Alvarez was literally one of Floyd's easiest fights. It wasn't on hard. It was on easy. I'm about to talk about that in this video. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. It goes a long way when you guys throw a like on the video, so it encourages others who are looking for similar content in the world of boxing that we live. Now, before I get into it, let me give you guys a little bit of a preamble. Now, Leonard ELLERBE of Mayweather Promotions, CEO, longtime friend and business partner of Floyd Mayweather, he made some statements regarding Canelo. I think a fan asked, we'll get to it. Fan asked, what was Floyd's easier fight, Pacquiao or Canelo? And Leonard, he answered honestly. Wow. In doing so, it created an ish storm in Twitter land, and some people just absolutely could not bear and deal with that statement from Leonard ELLERBE. So without further ado, we got to take a look at this. Leonard ELLERBE, verified page. You see the blue check mark, right? Let's see if we can find it. People lost their mind when he said that. So he said, I learned a lot from Floyd fight. Couldn't agree more. Where does it begin? He looks like, okay, boom, I think we got action. Boom, you never know. So this fan says, let's start from the beginning. It all stems from, I like to give you guys the backstory. It all stems from ESPN Ringside posted this. And it says 8 years ago today, Floyd Mayweather defeated a 23-year-old Canelo Alvarez by majority decision. I don't know why Canelo looks sad as heck. I don't know why people keep throwing Canelo's age in that. Like, what are we doing here? All right. So the ESPN social media team or whatever, they threw his age. He's 23. Okay. Mike Tyson won a heavyweight title knocking out Trevor Berbick. He was like 20. So Canelo, he bit off more than he could chew. He had been calling out Floyd Mayweather. See, it's different for the people, for the folk that actually lived it. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And I remember this timepiece, and Canelo had been calling out Floyd Mayweather, and he said he was ready, and fans really believed that Canelo could beat Floyd until it actually happened, of course. So this is where it all began. Mayweather Promotions CEO says, probably Floyd's easiest fight ever, and just think one judge had scored it the other way. And he's referring to CJ Ross, who was removed from boxing, had to retire after that egregious scorecard. And that correction, she didn't have it the other way. She had it a draw, which is still criminal because it was a one-sided beatdown. It says Floyd was 36 at the time and Canelo was 23 with a 42-0 record and outweighed Floyd by 20 plus pounds on fight night. Haters will say he had zero experience. They say anything to downplay Floyd Mayweather's greatness. There we have it. So, ironically enough, Canelo Alvarez started boxing when he was 15 in Mexico, and his record was within a few fights of how many fights Floyd had when they fought. For example, if Canelo was 42-0, if you look at it, for Mayweather, this was his 43rd fight. So they had about the same amount of fights. The difference being is Mayweather fought real life, real ones, you know what I mean? And Canelo who knows who he was fighting when he was 15 and 16 coming up in Mexico. Different people, different journeys. But this particular tweet has created a rift, and people, they got angry with Leonard ELLERBE. And it says, you said this about Pacquiao too, so which one was as easiest, Canelo or Pacquiao? And he repeats it. Canelo was the easier fight, which I agree, because even Pacquiao, he didn't do much, but he clipped Floyd in one of the rounds, and I think he buzzed Floyd a little bit. Now, shout out to Gregory J. Brown. He says, Leonard, you don't have to justify nothing to these haters. Floyd's record speaks for itself, TBE 100. You think they hating now? Watch when y'all finish writing the second chapter with your promotions company. I love and respect you guys for all that you are doing. Boom. Breath of fresh air. He said, appreciate you, G, for keeping it down. Look, you see all the people got something to say. 2007, 2009, when Floyd was seeking out an overblown lightweight in Marquez after a fraud retirement who jumped 2 weight classes, B-Hop was looking for a fight. I mean, what? He talking about B-Hop. B-Hop fighting a middleweight. Talking about him fighting Floyd. What is he talking about, bro? It said his people take the fight before Winky. Floyd never wanted any Winky smoke either, for that matter. Just clearly people hating. ELLERBE says, Malika, you can't fight everyone who calling you out. You guys are fans and don't know the entire story. You hear a portion of it and run with it, but it's all good, sis. Enjoy your day. Right? See how people get angry. What else? It says, with Maypac, there was a cutoff for the drug, urine testing, blah, blah, blah. That's irrefutable fact. Oh, Leonard out here cooking y'all. Someone said, I'll defend Floyd's greatness till the day I die. One of the best to ever do it, the greatest of our generation, but Canelo was nowhere near what he is now when he was 23. I mean, what are we talking about? Floyd was 20, 21 when he fought Gennaro Hernandez and beat him. People want to give Canelo all these accolades and passes. He was bigger than, I mean, imagine this. This is getting hilarious to see people, how hard they take the Canelo loss. They wanted Canelo to be what Mayweather is, undefeated, unblemished record and stuff. And you see they're still trying to preserve that, because in my opinion, Canelo has other fights outside of the Mayweather fight where he really lost those fights as well, like Lotta and Triple G. He said he learned a lot from Floyd. I couldn't agree more, blah, 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 right? People were going crazy. Somebody said, and Floyd at 36 was nowhere near where he was at 25, 30. Canelo had 40 plus pro fights and a world title, 13-year advantage in age. That's what I'm talking about. 20-pound weight advantage. What more do they want? See, now that's a comment. Shout out to that person. Tactical trading. That's what I'm saying. That's reasonable. Canelo was 13 years Mayweather's junior. He had been calling out Floyd Mayweather. And it's funny, in microcosm, like when you look back at these situations, Leonard said, bruh, when you look at these situations, it is so funny to look at what it was then versus now. And it reminds me of even like fights like, see, there's a lot of fights that the history shows who won and we're past it. Years later, maybe a guy fell off or whatever the case is. And people in boxing often forget who that person was at the time of the fight because they lost. And we know, because it's written in stone, it's history. For example, some people, when it comes to Deontay Wilder, when he was fighting against Stavern, at that time, a lot of people thought Stavern was going to knock Wilder out. People were saying he's a fake knockout artist and he's a hype job. So that was Wilder's shot at the title, and Wilder passed with flying colors. So it's easy to look back years later and say like, okay, Wilder beat Stavern again, and say this, that, and the third. But at the time, if you date it back, people really thought Stavern was going to knock him out. And that's the same thing with the Canelo situation. There were a lot of people who had faith in Canelo. They were picking him to win. They thought he had what it take to beat Floyd Mayweather. Now, because you've seen pictures like this and how foolish Canelo looked, now all of a sudden people won't admit that. And they come up with oh, he was green and stuff like that. Oh, he was only 23. I just told you, Mike Tyson was 20-something. You see David Benavidez, he was a champion 2 times by the age of 22, 23. And he's still going, he's still undefeated. What are we talking about? Why is Canelo being babied? He's been fighting since he was 15. People cannot stomach the fact that Floyd Mayweather is great. TBE, easy work, I ain't got to worry about it. They can't do it. And it's funny to me to see all these like outlandish reactions about Canelo losing. He lost. He got better or whatever people want to say. That's cool. But this given night, he was embarrassed. This is a classic Floyd domination. You know, and if it makes you believe if they were really closer to the same size, it would have been even worse for Canelo if Floyd Mayweather wasn't a 5-division weight champion. Like if can you imagine if Floyd was the guy with the 20-pound weight advantage and the 13-year age advantage? And see, this is why Canelo has received certain criticism, because when is the last time he's fought somebody like this? And he has opportunities. He could fight David Benavidez. That would be similar. Canelo right now, he's about 30, 31 years old. Benavidez is the young, hungry guy and strong. And Benavidez could be Canelo's Canelo for Mayweather. Mayweather was 36. And you see the Canelo fans, they seen Caleb Plant in Andre Ward's gym, and they want Canelo to fight Andre Ward and Caleb Plant. And Andre Ward's inactive, and he's retired, and he's 36. So it's like, why is Canelo constantly babied in the world of boxing? And that's the irony. When Floyd Mayweather was number 1 pound for pound, it was irrefutable. Nobody really, even the people that didn't like him, the boxing media and the boxing writers that didn't like Floyd, they couldn't take it away from him. You would have a foolish pound for pound list if you didn't put Floyd there, right? And at the end of the day, you look at guys like Canelo, some people put him on the pound for pound list, but he's not doing the same things. I told you, they want Canelo to be the Mexican Mayweather so bad, but he's not. His legacy, who he's fighting, you know, catching people in quick turnarounds and weight stipulations constantly, things like that. It's different levels. Floyd is really from a different generation. He's a throwback fighter. Canelo, he's done well for himself. He's acquitted himself well. He has skills, things like that. But Floyd's a different breed. He's from a past generation. He's not from this class. He's from the school of boxing where you had to get down. You know what I mean? And it's just weird to see how many people try to give Canelo a pass for this and that and say, oh, but Canelo was so young. Why was he calling out Floyd Mayweather if he was too young? We can't play that game. We can't hedge our bets like that. We can't say, oh, Canelo, we want to see him get the fight, and then when it doesn't go your way, now he was too young. So why were you calling him out incessantly for a year and a half, 2 years, right? I can't wait for this Caleb Plant fight, because I'm not saying Caleb Plant is Mayweather. I'm not saying he is Edeslandi Lara. They all have their own independent quirks and little things that they do. But stylistically, he's closer to that in terms of complete fighter, well-rounded, can use his legs, things like that. And this style has given Canelo problems. So we're going to see how much he's truly learned. But it's just funny to see people are so insecure. They don't want to give Floyd props for anything. People want revenge. They're telling Floyd at age 45, like, you have to keep in mind, Floyd Mayweather and Canelo fought in 2013. In 2013, people want to see Canelo fight Floyd Mayweather literally almost, it's about to be 2022. So that's a little bit shy of a decade, right? Canelo, you see who's behind him, Oscar De La Hoya. He's not even with him. A lot has changed in that period of time. Richard Schaefer, you see him in this picture. He was working with Golden Boy. Canelo was working with Golden Boy. All these splits happen, you know, and the biggest thing is, it's funny because they always want Canelo, like the Canelo man fans, they always want Canelo to have some insane advantage. Now, Floyd fought him when he was 36, going on 37. Now they want Floyd to fight him at 45, when Canelo has a knockout recorded at 175 versus Kovalev, and he's had several fights at 168. Meanwhile, when Floyd is fighting Logan Pauls and even Conor McGregor's and Canelo's, he weighing like 148, 150, 152, things like that. Again, Floyd is a throwback. He's just a different anomaly, you know, and Canelo's just going to have to live with that loss and eat that loss. And the other thing I never understood about the whole Canelo Mayweather conversation is this: how come Canelo never asked for a rematch closer to the first fight? They fought in 2013. Why he didn't do a rematch when he fought Angulo and then Lara? Why he didn't do a rematch right then and there? You know, right around there, within 2014, 2015. Why did his fans want him to do a rematch almost a decade later when Floyd's not active? It's sad. That's how you know people are hating. They can't deal with the loss. They want to hate so bad. Let me know how I did in this video. I think it's hilarious. Leonard ELLERBE of Mayweather Promotions seemed to stir the pot and got a lot of you guys in the comment section mad. But guess what? You just gonna have to eat that Canelo loss because it's over. Hit the like button, subscribe, I'm out. Do you want more content? Make sure you follow my socials on Twitter at Boxingego and Instagram at Boxingego1. Yeah. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster.